Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to learn how to perform correlation analysis in SPSS and how to interpret the output. Before we start, it is important that we have this information in mind, which will help us to interpret our output. First, we must know that correlation coefficient can take on any value in the range -1 and +1. The sign of the correlation coefficient indicates the direction of the relationship, while the magnitude of the correlation, that is how close it is to -1 or +1, indicates the strength of the relationship. The strength can be assessed by these general guidelines. When you have your correlation coefficient to be between 0.1 and 0.3, it indicates small or weak correlation. And when you have your correlation coefficient between 0.3 and 0.5, that indicates a medium or moderate correlation. And when you have your correlation coefficient greater than 0.5, it indicates large or strong correlation. So having this information in mind, you are good to start with the analysis. So this is the data that we are going to use. This is a data which was gathered by a company. They were trying to assess their spending on advertisements and its influence on their sales. So we are interested in finding out how these two variables correlate, whether spending on advertisement has an influence on sales. So to start, we go to analyze. The drop-down list appears, then we locate correlation. So that is it over here. Then we go to bivariate correlation. We are choosing bivariate because we are looking at two variables, which is advert and sales. So we click on bivariate. So the bivariate correlation dialog box appears. So as you can see, the variables have been indicated over here. So now it's time for us to analyze these two variables. So we have to send it to the right side for SPSS to recognize these two variables. So we do that by clicking on Control A, then we click on this button. Yes, so we've repositioned it to the right hand side. So now SPSS can identify that these are the two variables we want to analyze. So by so doing, we choose the correlation coefficient that we want to go with. For most students, they go with the Pearson correlation, so we are going to do the Pearson correlation for today. Until next time, when we also look at the Kendall's and the Spearman. But today we are interested in knowing the Pearson correlation. Verifying all this information, now we are going to click on OK to find out the relationship. So when we click on OK, this is the output we are getting. Table, we are interested in the Pearson correlation coefficient and the value of significance. Pearson correlation coefficient we are getting is 0.916 and the significance value we are getting is 0.000. Yes, so now we can interpret. So the 0.916 is closer to +1, and from what I explained earlier, when it's closer to +1, then it indicates a very strong correlation. And the correlation coefficient, the magnitude is greater than 0.5. So our correlation coefficient is very strong. So this indicates a very strong correlation between these two variables, the advertising spending and the sales. So aside that, it's also positive, meaning that it's a positive relationship. Now, the test of significance also shows that it's 0.00. So this value is less than 0.05. When it's less than 0.05, it indicates that it's significant. So meaning that the relationship between advertising spending and sales is significant. That could also imply why we are getting a very strong correlation between these two variables. The 0.916 indicates why it is significant. So to interpret, you can simply put it this way. There is a strong positive correlation between advertising spending and sales, and the relationship between these two variables is significant. So that is how you can interpret this table. Yes, I believe you've learned something today. So that is it for today. Kindly subscribe so that you do not miss out on our next lesson. Until next time, bye-bye.